Hi, my name is Mary Kate Pensabene. Today is June 6th, 2022, and I'll be presenting on the roles of the pancreas and the liver in regulating digestion. So today we'll be talking about the pancreas and the liver and how they assist in regulating digestion. This here shows the pancreas and its role and intertwined in the blood vessels and the intestines. And I think this photo depicts just how integral the pancreas is in digestion. Pancreas is both an exocrine and an endocrine organ. It assists in the regulation of macronutrient digestion. It secretes digestive enzymes and pancreatic hormones, which act both in an exocrine and endocrine manner. We'll break those down in just a little bit. The pancreas is located behind the stomach within the left upper quadrant of the abdomen, and it's partitioned into the head, the body, and the tail. You can see the head here, most closely linked to the intestine, the body, which is the longer portion of the pancreas, and the tail, which is just the tip here, pointing almost upwards. So we'll first talk about the pancreas and how it works with digestive enzymes. This is the exocrine function of the pancreas, the exocrine cells, and the exocrine system of how the pancreas works with digestion. The majority of the pancreas is made up of acinar cells, and these cells create pancreatic juice that contains digestive enzymes. The pancreas will secrete these enzymes, such as amylase, pancreatic lipase, and trypsinogen. These enzymes are secreted into the pancreatic duct and can then assist in macronutrient breakdown. A few of the most common enzymes are amylase, which works with the breakdown of carbohydrates, lipase, which works with the breakdown of fats, and trypsin or chymotrypsin digests proteins. In this image here on the right side of the screen, it depicts, again, just how intertwined the pancreas and the intestines are. You can see down here the acinar cells, they're what secrete the digestive enzymes. They secrete it here into the pancreatic duct, which runs almost like horizontal down the pancreas. And from there, through the pancreatic duct, the enzymes can be passed into the duodenum of the small intestine. The pancreas here, you can see it is also pretty intertwined in different arteries, like the splenic arteries, which also connect to the spleen. Later, we'll talk about the endocrine system in the pancreas and the endocrine hormones that are secreted. But this image on the right here shows the breakdown of the alpha cells, the beta cells, and they're in the pancreatic islet, which we'll talk about with the endocrine system. Some pancreatic hormones here that are listed include glucagon, amylin, C-peptide, insulin, pancreatic polypeptide, somatostatin, and ghrelin. Those more so pertain to the endocrine part of the pancreatic role in digestion. We'll move to that next. So the pancreas also plays a role in blood sugar regulation, and this is part of the endocrine system in the pancreas, the endocrine cells of the pancreas. Pancreatic hormones can be released in a direct endocrine manner, which means right into the bloodstream. The endocrine cells are clustered together, making the islets of Langerhans, and those are what we saw in the last slide here, this pancreatic islet, the little blue clusters. These are small structures within the exocrine tissue, so they're in the exocrine tissue, which is this part of the system that we just talked about, but they still have that endocrine function. There are 5 different types of cells that release endocrine hormones. First, we have the alpha cells, and those produce glucagon, and glucagon's function is to increase blood glucose levels. Another type of cell is beta cells, and they produce C-peptides and insulin, which decrease blood glucose levels. There's polypeptide producing cells. They regulate the exocrine and endocrine secretion in the pancreas. And then somatostatin producing cells, which inhibit glucagon and insulin release. So if you look at the diagram here on the right, if we start in the middle here, there are normal blood glucose levels. So just to the left, we see what happens when there's an increase in blood glucose in the presence of, say, a meal. The increase in blood glucose will act on the pancreas. The pancreas will release insulin, and insulin will cause glucose uptake in both the liver here and in the muscles. The glucose uptake will cause blood glucose levels to drop back down to normal, and we're back at our homeostasis here. And in, say, the opposite situation, when blood glucose drops overnight, that'll act on the pancreas. The pancreas will release glucagon to increase blood glucose. It'll act on the liver, which can increase the production of glucose, and blood glucose will return to normal. So this system kind of acts on itself. It's self-regulatory, but assists in digestion in the presence of a meal, and can help with the regulation of digestion in the presence of a meal. So next, moving on to the liver. The liver functions to make and secrete bile. It processes and purifies the blood that contains newly absorbed nutrients from the small intestine. The liver consists of 4 lobes made up of 8 sections and thousands of lobules. The liver is the largest solid organ in the body, and it's located just beneath the rib cage in the right upper quadrant. So we'll first talk about the liver's role in the production and secretion of bile. Bile is a fluid that is critical to digestion and absorption of fats in the small intestine. It turns fats into usable energy. And bile is manufactured in the hepatocytes, which are the cells in the liver, and they're secreted into the small intestine. They travel from the liver through a network of ducts to the gallbladder, and bile is stored in the gallbladder. Then during a meal, the gallbladder will release this bile into the small intestine, and it'll assist with digestion and absorption of fats. Bile also functions in the stomach in that it contains bicarbonate ions, and they help neutralize acid and carry they help neutralize acid that's carried from the stomach to the small intestine. Bile salts also convert vitamin D to its active form, and that's necessary for calcium utilization. So bile has a lot of different roles, and it's produced and secreted in the liver, which makes the liver function so important. Lastly, we'll talk about the role of filtration of the blood, and that's something that the liver does for the digestive system. The liver can produce albumin, and that's a protein that keeps fluid in the bloodstream, and it keeps it from leaking into the surrounding tissue. It also functions in toxin filtration, and all the blood that exits the stomach and the intestines is filtered through the liver. And the liver removes toxins, byproducts, and harmful substances. The liver also stores vitamins and minerals such as vitamins A, D, E, K, and B12, as well as iron and copper. And the liver also processes glucose, so it removes excess glucose from the bloodstream in situations of hyperglycemia, and it also can convert glycogen back to glucose in hypoglycemia in order to raise blood glucose levels. And these are my works cited. And that essentially wraps up the pancreas and the liver. Both are essential in digestive function and in the regulation of the body as a whole. And both have multiple unique functions, but are equally as important. Thank you.